Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Tiabu, and normally I don't do this, but this thing dropped, and I'm gonna check it out because that's apparently what I do. It's like 9 p.m., which is probably not the best time to be checking out a new show, but we're gonna do it anyway. Um, this is It Invaded. It dropped like today, and apparently for like one day only on the Funimation website, but of course the internet immediately ripped a copy from the Funimation website and uploaded it on torrent sites because it's the internet. And whoops, looks like I have it. Wow, who'd have thought? So this is a show. I don't know what it's about. It's got some pretty cool, pretty interesting promo art, some geometric designs, and a guy split in a bunch of pieces, and a guy with a bunch of people popping out of his head as though they are parts of his hair, which is kind of cool. Got a sort of a weird flat aesthetic, which could look really good or could look really bad, depending on how it's actually implemented in animation. We'll see. This is produced by Studio Naz. That's not a good. Okay, that was a terrible pun, and it didn't even go anywhere. That's not necessarily a good thing. The most popular show produced by Studio Naz is Hajimete no Gal, which I tried to watch at one point and found absolutely and genuinely unwatchable. I found it pretty terribly produced and a horrible, horrible fan service show. Yeah. They've got a couple of other shows that they've made, none of which I've seen. None of which are very well rated. Okay, cool. Well, we'll see how this goes. Now, there are some interesting members of the cast. There's A. Aoki, who is the director of All Noah Zero and the director of Girls Bravo, my first fan service show. Nice. And the director of both Fate Zero. He's got a thing for zeros, as well as a couple of Karana Kyokais, some recreators, which was interesting, although it kind of fell apart a little bit. He's been around in the industry a little bit, and he's made some really cool works. Although he's also made those works at studios that are good. So we'll see. Don't know what it's about. There's no synopsis. Don't know anything. They dropped the first two episodes in one big ol' 45-minute and 47-second bundle, and that's what I've got. So we're gonna watch this until we don't want to watch anymore, which could be the whole thing, or it could be like nothing. We'll see. In any case, I'm just gonna watch it, and I guess there will be two versions of this reaction video. There will be a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, and I guess you can find that in linked in the description. And there will be a timer-based version up on YouTube, which will have discussion and stuff in it, depending on how much we actually want to discuss. But regardless, it'll have a beep beep timer. So if you really want to watch this along with me, you can grab your own copy of it and off the Funimation website, which would probably be recommended because it's legal, or grab it off of Nya if you don't give a shit. And just get it ready because the beep beep timer to sync up your shit with my shit will be coming at you now. Invaded. Okay, cool. Beep beep timer. Oh, hi, Katakawa. Yeah, definitely can't put this on YouTube. Hi, Funimation. The Detectives United. Original. Right. Minimalist. I don't recognize that name. That's okay. I recognize that name. Okay. We're in a matrixy space. Some kind of digital place of ordered cubes reorganizing themselves. Weird glitchy noises. What's in the cubes? People? Souls? Okay. And they got computer parts. Circuit boards, but in CG3 space. Woo! And now they're becoming more complex, organism-like. Digital evolution? Nexus of some sort. And that's an alarm. And he's awake. Flat as fuck. Is that artifacting, or is there like a weird gradient applied to the edges of things? I think it's a weird gradient applied to the edges of things. Okay. Okay. That's strange. Does it hurt? You got hit by sticky fingers. Everything has been disassembled. Some interesting character animation. Not sure if I'm a fan of the character designs yet. See? Okay. Still got control of his shit. That's CG. Got some elements in it, at least. Alright. It's creative. Right. No. Probably not. And the whole world is such. It seems like everything's been digitized and reconstructed, but somehow will has an effect. Two layers of shading. Gives it kind of a cheap, flat feel. Feels kind of video gamey. But that makes sense given the whole digitized-y thing. Gives me Rayman vibes. But how? And who's the girl? Well, you're the protagonist, so I would hope you would have some kind of purpose. Ooh, yikes. Everywhere? Nowhere? Blank, empty CG space. Why would any entity inside this system know the parameters of the system? Nah. Not getting anywhere with that. That's a better idea. It's only part of a girl, isn't it? Alright, that's a little creepy. Together at last. OST's kind of nice, so far. Abstract art. Useful. Oh, she dead. She's super dead. And one eye taken? Vecna. He's rather analytical. Is she your sister? Guess he doesn't know. Wouldn't know, maybe. Analytical. Sure. Oh, you're in a sim, and people are watching you. Interesting. I'm super not into the aesthetic of this place. Yes, it does. That is a bit of a wrinkle. Except for that bald guy who's been framed importantly twice or 3 times, and most crimes occur based on that. Idwells. Oh, that's where the id comes from. Okay. So this is the subconscious of somebody. And he's somehow been inserted into it. Or doesn't exist and is exclusively a computer program. Oh, hi, Ahoge kid. It's an interestingly shallow way of looking at the idea of the id, but okay. I guess they're going for stark and scientific with the backgrounds, but they just strike me as kind of lazy. I had kind of the same feeling about Babylonia's science departments. Hmm. Oh, so our detective is a murderer. Or a killer. To perform as the brilliant detective. So it's a title, not a specific thing for him. As all good detectives do. Oh yeah, let's see the outside world, please. People exist, but are they just representations buried in the subconscious? Yeah, fractured. Bald guy isn't here. And they're playing a visual novel with the character who we just saw outside in it. Interesting. Really don't like the aesthetic. If I don't focus on it, it's all right. The story is interesting enough so far. That I don't necessarily have to focus on it. But it's fucking ugly. Hmm. Hmm. Ooh. I was about to say seems useful, but that doesn't seem terribly useful. Someone who's instilling people with the desire to kill? Wait, that was the outside. It's just as stark as bleak and bleak as the inside. Gross. This is an original. This isn't based on a novel. Feels like it's based on a novel. Oh, it's a Dominator, but without the gun function. Hmm. Wow, she's not acting like a person. Except you. Yeah. It's doing music production. Ah, whatever. Who cares? Okay, neat. Very web Jenny. Not that that's a bad thing. Because then we wouldn't get a cool animation sequence for the OST to break into. Don't question it. So is he exerting his will in order to cause... Hmm. Kanji? Or that looked like hiragana. Okay. Hmm. Oof. Woof, woof. They look awful. It's a terrible shot. That's okay. Wides. The aesthetic is just so bad, though. Who's doing that? Who's the art director? Hmm. Oh. So does the Idwell react to the killer's current mental state? Hmm. Hmm. It does. To kill you or whoever's in there. That makes more sense. Pre-scarring. Wonder if that was John Waters? John Titer? John something. Kills by drilling? Those were Fords, but with the logo removed. Rip. Just gonna announce your presence? Oh shit. By drilling. There's another one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He believes that he understands her because she's dead? Oh. Ooh. Oh. It's a cool aesthetic. Oh, hey, there he is. That drilled a hole in his own head. Not in here. Wouldn't do anything. Oh, hi. Yeah, I want to see this too. It's the little girl. Because he saw her, but he doesn't understand her, so she's fragmented, right? Hmm. Do we just hit the midway point? Not quite. Wait, actually, almost. It's not him. His hand's tied to the thing. Not him. Not him. He's in the place. Shit. Gave you the slip, fam. Oh, hey, you're gonna get isekai'd. That's lucky. Lucky? Not so much. Oh. Do I care enough to keep watching this? Yeah, that's cool. Sure, why not? Why is he fragmented, though? Oh, bye. If this is his world, his subconscious, he should have full control over it. Or at least of his own appearance within it. Unless you're God. Oh, hi. John whatevers. Hmm. Hmm. Is John Walker like John Doe, a false name that they've given to someone they don't know or understand? Over under on him being John Walker. Over. Didn't you pull out a pistol? Weren't you carrying one? What? Were you carrying that illegally? Yeah, he came in as soon as they started getting a beat on John Walker. I'm going with over. Oh boy. What the fuck? I'll take that as a yes. I'll take that as a maybe. Yeah, I mean, look at the hair. Oh, and she is, yeah. That makes sense. Ooh, that voice. Hmm. GPS tracker. He identifies with his victims. Well, yeah. Hmm. The fuck? Fractured world. It's a fine donator. Wanted to be found. Subconsciously, at least. His world. His broken interpretation of reality. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As a murderers might be expected to. That would make sense too. Based on the ancient medical practice? Maybe. Oh. Oh. Blech. Blech. Yeah, there are weird gradients everywhere. But only some, well, not everywhere. Some places, not others. Oh, hey. Hi, buddy. Oh. Id colon invaded. Invasion of the id. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's pretty simplistic, though. Ooh. Rejection. Bye. Oh, hi. But faster this time. Hey. Drills everywhere? Yep. But I do know that I am the brilliant detective. Oh. Hmm. But she's complete here. Hmm. But it wasn't a suicide. Oh, fun. Ah. Yikes. No, you just remove a section of your frontal lobe. Doshite. Okay. Oh, she's dying. Hey, we made it. All in a day's work. Mm-hmm. 8 minutes left. Yeah, I can make it through. Let's actually meet our detective boy. Hello. Is Sakaido his actual other name, or is it just the name he's given in universe? Yeah, why did he just fall apart when you punched him? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's your boss. Mm-hmm. Should have been thanks, but okay. Mm-hmm. Hmm. But you won't remember it from the outside. Yeah. But you'll pick up on it quickly. Is he a prisoner? A murderer himself? Hmm. Why would you question the world you live in? This feels like a debriefing. That's a terrible way to translate that, but there would be no way to go from Nigoto to Gogoto. Just doesn't. Yeah, he's a prisoner. That's a jumpsuit. But he's their most useful. Cool. You can dive into it, so why not? Nah. Oh, okay. That's actually a reasonable thing to do. Yeah. Of course you wouldn't, because you're John Walker. Sure. And to what end? Hmm. Welcome back to prison. Enjoy your stay. Oh, lots of pictures of his daughter. Who is dead. Or, wait. Yeah. Who is dead? Not the person from the investigation team, right? This is a dream, right? Hmm. Hmm. That's the end? End? Yep. Alright. Well, this is a really unfortunate thing. I think the story is interesting. There are a lot of interesting ideas being thrown at the wall here. I think I would rather read it as a book. And I think that's maybe like the most painful criticism you can give to an animated show is that the fact that it's animated is a waste. The story on display here is interesting. I don't know if it's necessarily solid since this is just an introduction via a single case. The ideas and technology on display are sort of an interesting fusion of like, I don't know, like Minority Report and Sherlock Holmes and what else? Inception almost. Diving into someone's consciousness, their subconscious specifically. That mysterious thing, the id, that is covered up by the ego. Unfortunately, the wrapping paper that it comes in is maybe one of the ugliest shows I've seen. Like flat out. This was horrifyingly ugly. And I think that's really unfortunate because there's a really interesting script at play and some solid voice acting talent. The main guy is what's his name? Yeah, Tsuda Kenjiro. Who is all kinds of people and is pretty damn good. And I think is doing a pretty damn good job at this sort of listless detective character. What else is he like starred in? It doesn't really matter. He's been a lot of supporting characters in a lot of things. He's been a couple of major characters in a couple of things, and yeah, all right, great. Script Otaro Maijo. Right, he wrote a couple of interesting manga, and there's some certainly it's such an interesting like conflux of ideas, and some of the aesthetic choices on display are also really cool. And some of the scenes and some of the animators are clearly quite competent. There are some nice scenes of rather bombastic key animation, very web jenny, and some really interesting things. However, I think the entire thing is held back deeply by terrible backgrounds, uh, pretty bad character designs, and generally just flat, bland direction. It's shot, I guess, maybe intentionally, given Aoki's like backlog of rather bombastic and somewhat interestingly directed shows. I think it's intentionally shot as like a police procedural on TV. I think that's a really bad decision because you got this bombastic sci-fi world and you could be going crazy with it. There are some sequences where he's using the digital backgrounds and stuff to full effect for dynamic camera stuff and making things look cool. It's just the things that he's making look cool don't look cool, and the backgrounds that they're placed against don't fit, and all of the production is. Ugh. The character writing and the dialogue is snappy and nice and interesting. The voice actors are doing a good job. The whole idea of this organization that deep dives into people's subconsciouses to figure out mysteries is cool. The whole idea of a detective who is reset every time and takes his own inclinations into a case each time, but no memories and no knowledge of why he's there except the things that the system gives him, which seem to be, I have a purpose here, I am the brilliant detective, the name, and this girl, something that he can latch on to and relate to. But it's deeply hamstrung by cheap production. Cheap looking. I don't know how much this cost to make. There's a ton of interesting CG stuff and interesting places and things that probably cost quite a bit of money, but Lord God, it looks bad. And part of that is that we're used to anime in 3 shades, like minimum. And this is in 2 maximum. Each colored section has 2 elements of shading. 1 dark, 1 everything else. Same with the hair, 1 dark, 1 everything else, and then the line work. But then it's also got these sort of strange gradients applied to everything, sort of haphazardly, that are sometimes there and sometimes not. And I don't think they really add anything. Honestly, I find them distracting and kind of bleh, and just kind of bleh. The whole thing looks like hot garbage. That's, I think, really unfortunate, because I think there are some brilliant people working on this, and I think that I mean, if you really want to watch this, it's totally watchable, but you kind of have to turn your eyes off because it doesn't look good. It looks good enough to convey the story that's here, but I don't think the story needs those looks in order to be conveyed. I'd rather read it as a book. I'd rather read it as something akin to Neuromancer or Snow Crash, things that should not be made into animations. Now, okay, character design and original character design. Yuki Kodama, who did the characters for Blood Lad, and Ri Hamatora. Cool. Great. And character design by Atsushi Ikariya. Character designer for Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Work 2nd season. Really? You know, there is a little bit of a Ufotable vibe to the way that the hair and faces are done. There just isn't the post-production to make it actually work. Nor are there the obscene number of layers of things that Ufotable puts into some of their stuff to make it look fucking good. Did the character designs for Fate Zero. That's absurd. Harmonie Hataraku Mao-sama and Terraform Mars. What? How? How does this happen? Emi Chiba did color design also on Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero. And all of the Kara no Kyokais, except for 7. Nope, 7 as well. What? Why does it look so bad? What? How? Why? I'm actually baffled. This is baffling. The staff who are working on this show are at least the ones who are listed are people who are quite obviously, from their history, competent. So then I have a morbid curiosity. Funny for a murder mystery show. Is this listed on ANN? It invaded ANN. It is, of course it is. Why does it look like Dookie? Why does it look like poop? Daisuke Mataga is the main animator. Yoshihiro Sono of Psycho-Pass and Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress is credited for art and world setting. What? And art setting on Tokyo Ghoul, which has relatively good art setting. What? Daisuke Mataga is doing what? Main animator. CAD on Ergo Proxy, okay. CAD on Grimoire of Zero, which I haven't seen. Key animation on the OP of Goblin Slayer, which is a fine OP. Harmonie is the Order of Rabbit. Katana Gatri, animation director on 3 of the episodes. Kill a Kill, a key animation on episode 7. Key animation on episode 16 of Penny and Stocking. Patema Inverted, which I don't know that much about, okay. Animation director on 2 episodes of ReZero. What? Where's the weak link? How did this happen? Takahiro Kubota is the assistant director. Has never directed anything in his life. Okay, but he's the assistant director to somebody who has directed things in his life. Aoki. I'll be the first to tell you that All Noah Zero wasn't good, but it wasn't good because the writing went off the rails. It was still a fine production, minus some weird CG. How does this happen? Am I just blind and this actually looks amazing? Because it's terrible. Look at it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at all of this background. It's terrible. How does this happen? Was it overambitious? Did they have a time crunch? Did they run out of time halfway through? Were they rushed to produce it for an early release special? Who gave this the go ahead? Who said, "Yeah, that looks good"? I am confused. I'm super confused. Well, I guess I'm just going to stick to the interpretation that I have, which is that something went wrong, or the people working on this went crazy and thought that this was right, which is nuts. There's a really interesting there are nuggets of really interesting story, interesting writing, interesting ideas for a truly cyberpunk, mind-melding, brain-delving, techno-futurist thing here. And it just falls apart. Like, there are people who worked on Psycho-Pass working on this. Look at any scene from Psycho-Pass. It's a brilliantly rendered, interesting, dark, thematically relevant, cool-looking world inhabited by interesting characters with some fantastic direction and interesting ideas that fly at you a million per second. This has some interesting ideas. They're not represented that well. I was willing to try to give it the benefit of the doubt that maybe, okay, maybe this internal world is rendered in this strange, off-putting, off-kilter, digitizy, feely place because it's digital, right? It's a computerized representation of reality, and maybe once we snap out of it, it'll look normal. No. 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 And then I was gonna give it the benefit of the doubt that, okay, maybe they're in this starkly lit, uh, uh, kind of semi-dystopian interior, super metallic-y, super science, hospital-y aesthetic place. No, the outside looks like concrete. There's also there's a disconnect from the kind of story being told here, which I really think should be darker. Like somebody should turn down the brightness on the entire thing. Because we're in a dark murder mystery thing. There are emotional aesthetics that work for that. Again, look at Psychopaths. No, no, it's bright, almost oppressively bright, which I would say is maybe a design choice, but it doesn't really seem to be. There doesn't seem to be any thought put into the way that the scenes are lit, except that, well, I guess it would be lit like this, so we're gonna light it like this. I think this is maybe the best looking scene because it gives you a sense of unease with the bright flashlights illuminating this darkened exterior, or this darkened interior of this basement. And yet it's not that dark. It's actually quite well lit. It's not as though our vision is obscured in this sequence and we're told everything that we need to know before the sequence even begins. But there's some nice contrast going on at least. And kind of a cool shot here. No pun intended. How did this happen? How did this happen? This makes me sad. This feels like something that given time and moolah and staff working on it could actually look really amazing and be a game changer, like this is the anime of the season, let's go. It's got a cool story, it's got really cool ideas that make you think and ponder, and it's got elements of psychology and technology and futurism and questions about us and questions about reality and an obvious betrayal coming from the chief of police. Maybe not, but it really seems to be building in that direction, and if they are following traditional detective storytelling methods, then they would have to introduce the person who is actually John Walker? Yeah, not John Waters, that's Mustache. They would have to introduce that person early, because it makes sense to do that. It's one of the rules. This could be really good. Why isn't it good? Who did this? Why did they do it? Or why didn't they do it? Okay, if I keep talking about this, I'm just gonna get upset. What a waste. I don't think I've ever seen such a disconnect between the artistic talent or lack thereof and the writing and acting talent. Nor have I ever seen a staff list like this turn out something that looks this terrible. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. It blows my fucking mind. Okay. I'm gonna wrap here. We watched the whole thing, partly out of morbid curiosity and partly because, honestly, I think the script, at least for an introductory pair of episodes, is really good and is going to catch a lot of people's attention and get them interested in this show. I bet that there will be a lot of people who think that this is really good, and they're not wrong on a certain level. If what they're here for is the storytelling, then they're not wrong. But like, man, I watched episode 1 of Violet Evergarden today, and it's fucking gorgeous. And this is so far on the other end of the spectrum that I can't even believe that they're in the same medium. Wow. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap here. I've been Tiabu. This has been id Invaded, episodes 1 and 2, I guess. Look, if you don't care about the weird aesthetic that's going on here, then more power to you. Like, fuck yeah, you can enjoy this story. I am not going to be able to enjoy this story because it looks like poop. Smeared all over the screen. Gross. Okay. That's going to be it for me. I hope that there are like some Sakuga blog episode or articles on this shit that explain what the hell created such a visual train wreck. Because it doesn't compute for me. It doesn't make sense for me. It is a fractured landscape. Bye. Peace.